Article 17 deals with classification and reclassification of union job titles. 17.1 gives the Human Resource Division, HRD, the authority for determining the titles, job specifications, relationship of one classification to the others, etc. So HRD determines the job classifications and job series. 17.3 speaks to the individual's right to appeal through the Chief Human Resources Officer of HRD or the civil service system. So you have a right, individuals have a right to appeal. And the appeal is not the subject of a grievance or an arbitration. So this is specific to this article. It is not a grievable matter if you should lose your appeal or if you're not able to appeal your job classification. This is not a grievable matter. However, if there are questions about how to go about appealing your job classification, fundamentally you have two options. The first option would be going through your supervisor and through your office manager to request a job classification audit. It is a process that sets forth a maintenance reallocation for your position. Basically, the budget line item has changed in your agency to pay you at a higher job classification or job grade. That's going internally. If you do go internally, you do that in writing, you request a review of your position, and a job audit would be sent to you. It's a 12-page document. You fill it out. You justify the need for a reclassification to the next highest job title. If this should not pan out for you, you can appeal it, and you can appeal it to HRD, but no further. The other route of going for a job reclassification is to go the route of a Chapter 30, Section 49 appeal. And that sets forth the same process that I just described. However, upon appeal to HRD, should you fail in that appeal, you can then take your case to the Civil Service Commission for a review of your appeal, your application, and for a judge's ruling, a civil service judge's ruling. And that often will give you more of an opportunity for an outside decision of your matter. So generally a more objective decision. The key factor in all of this is that you need to be performing a preponderance, more than 51%, of those job duties that are of the higher classification that you're applying for. That's the key. Not that you're doing more work, not that you're necessarily supervising more people, but that you're doing the duties of the higher classification that HRD has set forth in the description of the various job titles. Let me turn it over to David to talk about it from an agency perspective.
Okay, Greg has pretty much covered the appeal process. I just wanted to give you a few tips. In order to make your case, you must compare your current job specification to the job specification of the higher title and demonstrate that your job duties are not within the current job specification you are in, but are job duties of the higher classification. That 51% standard is applied. It does no good whatsoever to argue that you are performing outstanding work. Management will respond that you are performing the job duties of your current classification at a high, fully performing level, but you are not performing the duties of a higher job specification. So it's always important to compare your current job specification to the job specification which launches your appeal. As part of this appeal process, your supervisor will be asked if they agree with your appeal. This is generally a question of you listing out your job duties that you think merit the reclassification, and your supervisor signing off on the accuracy of those job duties. If your supervisor won't sign off, the prospect of your prevailing at the agency set level is slim, but as Greg indicated, you do have further appeal rights to get a more objective outside review. Often what management will do is do a closed period settlement, wherein they pay you the rate of the higher classification for a set period of time, and then revert you back to the job duties of your regular job classification. This is something where the union would get involved in terms of any kind of settlement. Contact Human Resources about the paperwork and process for pursuing a reclassification appeal.
Thank you, David. Richard?
Sure, thank you. Well, again, David and Greg have pretty much covered the waterfront on this particular article. One thing I will point out is that, as Greg indicated, the right to apply for reclassification of position is statutory. It's under Chapter 30 of the General Law, Section 49. It doesn't really arise out of the collective bargaining agreement. And as both Greg and David have indicated, you have to be able to show that you are doing the preponderance of the duties of the higher title more than 50% of the time. There is one particular area that is often a problem for people seeking reclassifications, and that is sometimes or often the higher title has a job specification that includes supervision. Many state employees don't actually supervise, and I've read an awful lot of appeal decisions from the Civil Service Commission on these cases, where the Civil Service Commission will say its decision, well, the appellant here is doing a very good job, we'll say, as a PC1, but their duties, this appellant's duties are really consistent with the PC1 position, and the appellant is not performing the duties of the PC2 if that's the level that the employee is trying to get, particularly including supervision. And so very often, the supervision requirement in the higher job title is what causes problems for appellants and what causes them, frankly, not to prevail in these reclassification decisions. But I do urge people who think that they may have a good reclassification appeal to do what David suggests, get the job specification for the higher title to which they hope to be reclassified, and compare it to the duties of the position that the employee is actually doing on a day-to-day basis. And you may, if you do that, you may find that you meet the requirements of the higher title and that you have the ammunition to file a successful appeal. Thanks.
Thank you, Richard. And if there is a need for a Chapter 30, Section 49 appeal to the Civil Service Commission, stewards can contact your union president, and a guide and appeal form will be sent to you for use with any folks who are appealing their job classification. Thank you.